If you were to travel straight up north through South Africa, you would land up in Botswana. Go even further up, you've got the bordering countries of Zimbabwe and also Namibia. But Botswana is one of those tourist meccas. It's an incredibly dry country, and yet the phenomenon of Botswana is that in amongst Kalahari, desert and dryness, you've got the famous Okavango Delta. Somewhat unusual for the Geri-Antics, we are traveling with a group this time, mainly South Africans and mainly on coach. But while we're here in Botswana, we are beginning our trip in planet Baobab, surrounded by, guess what, baobabs. But we want to do all of Botswana. So the plan is to experience the 4x4 experience in the safari area. We want to get into the Makoros on the Okavango Delta. And with a bit of luck, we're going to experience it from the air because we're going to do a flight over the whole of the Okavango Delta. So early in the morning to go on our flight over the Delta that we can't even see. It is 5:30 a.m. Maun, Botswana.
Can everyone see? Yeah. Alrighty, so usually with a scenic flight we fly about 500 feet above the ground, which is about 100 to 150 meters give or take. That's the lowest we can go legally. Hopefully we'll be able to see some animals. It's nice and early today, hopefully they will be out. It does get a little bit turbulent in the mornings during winter, but it shouldn't be too bad.
So we're surrounded by our group who chose to go on the Makoro adventure, and it's quite leisurely sitting back and letting somebody else do all the polling. We've got Tenya with us who's looking after us today, and we've each got our own personalized kind of a skipper on the boat. It's very tranquil, I must say. It's beautiful, very special. Tuesday in Botswana. The Baobab tree is almost synonymous with Botswana. It certainly represents everything that this country is. San legend has it that God first gave all of the animals a seed to plant, and the last one in the pack was the hyenas. And they were so enraged they were the last ones to be asked that they planted their seed upside down just to prove a point. And the result is the upside down tree. But it is the giver of life, because inside that tree there is so much water that it's known to have saved many, many lives over the years. Elephants are right in amongst the cattle. It's
This
crazy.
is a real oasis for these elephants. Al hierdie waterpyp wat gebreek het. But they won't fix this water pipe. They're very...
On the left and on the right, eh? And on the right.
It's the day of our drive through the Chobe National Park, which is one of the most interesting attractions of the area. We were all up at 5 o'clock this morning and fed some hot coffee and put into vehicles, because the sun only rises just before 7 o'clock, which is about half an hour ago, as the sun is right now. It's really quiet. The drought is noticeable here in Botswana, but it is still so beautiful. We've seen some elephant and a lion, and just being around the park is fantastic. And behind me is the Chobe River. And on the other side of there is Namibia, just across the water. We're just back from our game drive through the Chobe National Park, and it's actually quite impressive. They've got 4 of the 5, big 5 in there, rhinoceros being the one that they don't have. We didn't see a leopard, but we saw the other 3. And the reason they don't have rhinoceros is that the rhinoceros here in Botswana is under such threat. They've actually made a decision to separate them and sort of try and find the population growing again. It's actually quite sad. But what we did notice was that there was a scarcity of animals today, and it could be because of the drought coming in. But Botswana has made a conscious decision to increase prices of tourism in order to make it lower impact, so that money comes in, but you don't have millions and millions of enthusiastic tourists. And you can see it. There's a lovely sense of care for the wildlife that is the lifeblood of Botswana. The person who's been looking after us throughout this whole trip is the incredible Michael, who seems to know everything about everything actually around Botswana, from bird life to where we are in the world, to navigation, to what's the best thing to eat, with 1,000 jokes to tell every 22 seconds. What is it about Botswana that is so magical through your eyes?
I would say it's just the abundance of wildlife. Everything you can do in Botswana. Your walking safaris, your riding safaris, even boating on the Chobe River, the Makoros on the Okavango Delta. People of the Botswanas, they actually make you feel welcome. There are many countries that have wonderful safaris, but Botswana is just something really special.
So we'll leave Botswana, but Botswana will never leave us. And now I understand why this is one of the natural wonders of the world. Even though you look at all the pictures and you see the films, nothing quite prepares you for when you see this vast quantity of water spilling over from the Zambezi River. The Victoria Falls was first seen by David Livingstone as a first set of European eyes, and he named it, of course, for his queen, Queen Victoria. But its real name is Musiatunya, which translates as the smoke that thunders, and you can see why. It is not the tallest waterfall in the world, but it is the largest by sheer volume of water. They call the sheet of water that falls out is greater than any other waterfall in the entire world. It's absolutely splendid. Right across the waterfall on the other side, we've just spotted these hooligans. I have no idea what they're thinking, whether they're seriously brave or stupid. I have visions of this stag night party that went wrong, and the dare to the groom was go and stand and walk along the top of the waterfall, the Victoria, thank you, falls. No. Walking back along the path where we've done the various viewpoints, I reckon this has been one of the biggest highlights of our trip here in Botswana. This, the Victoria Falls, has got to be the thing worth coming to see. You cannot come all the way to Zimbabwe and not see that incredible spectacle and walk in the rainforests. So here we are, we're going to buckle up, put a helmet on our heads and some seat belts around us, and then we are going to throw ourselves off the Victoria Falls, the next Geri-Antics adventure. We may not come back, but hopefully it'll be worth it. Not. There are many ways to see the Victoria Falls, and in a while we're actually going to walk hopefully through the water and around the area. But a big highlight is to actually get into a helicopter, fly over the Victoria Falls and see it from the air. And that's what this group is doing today, on our way to see the smoke that thunders. One of the highlights of this trip through Botswana is surely this, the great and mighty Makgadikgadi salt pans, northeastern Botswana. It's interesting, there's still some mystery about how it formed in the first place, but what we do know, what I can work out, is it was once upon a time literally a mega lake, kind of bigger than the size of Switzerland as a country. And over time, and I'm talking tens of thousands of years, there was some sort of tectonic plate movement, and slowly all the water, the river that fed this particular lake dried up. The earth shifted and slowly the salt formed. And at the time, it was up to meters and meters deep of salt. And even today, if they drill down underneath the level of the ground, it's salty all the way down. Life is harsh here. The animals barely survive, and sometimes they don't survive. But it's an extraordinary thing. I hadn't prepared myself quite for the vastness of the Makgadikgadi Pans.